Before I start this video guys, I wanted to give you guys a quick update regarding my current reading schedule. As you know, I finished up the book The Count of Monte Cristo, and currently I have shifted to The Interpretation of Dreams by Sigmund Freud. I have spent about 2 days with this particular book, but I realized that this is not very much enjoying kind of book. I was not very into it, so I thought of getting a substitute book, but since I had only one book that is with me remaining, that is Crime and Punishment, I didn't want to go with that, so I digged up my old school box, and in that I find out this particular book, The Great Gatsby, and I realized that I have not finished this one, so I'll be going with this particular combo onwards. One more thing I wanted to share with you guys is that while I was looking for the review of The Count of Monte Cristo, I realized that my own review was not as good as the review of many other readers over the web. I come to know that that I know this particular book or the story of this particular book, but I do not understand the book as other people's do in a better manner. I figured out that this is something which you cannot learn like by taking a course or by just reading a couple of books. It takes hard work, or it takes a lot of time to be able to reach that point where you would be able to actually understand that what's the motive behind writing this book, or the overall understanding of a book in a better manner. I know this book, or I know the story of The Count of Monte Cristo, but to be honest, I don't really understand the book well. Okay, so these were the two things that I wanted to share. So that's it, and let's start the video. Let's start the review. The story of this particular book, named The Count of Monte Cristo, revolves around the life of one of its character named Edmond Dantes, who is basically seeking revenge from the people who had made his life miserable. Edmond Dantes, a young sailor from Marseille at the age of 19, was about to become the captain of a merchant ship named the Pharaoh, getting ready to marry the love of his life, Mercedes, at the age of 19, and his life seems to be almost perfect. However, this happy life of Edmond Dantes seems to stir up some of the friends of his dangerously. Baron Danglars, who is a manager appointed by Monsieur Morel, the owner of the merchant ship, envies from this happy life of Edmond Dantes, and Fernand Montego, who is also a rival of Edmond Dantes, likes Mercedes, and he also envies from the happy life of Edmond Dantes. So these two people, Fernand Mondego and Baron Danglars, along with one more character named Caderousse, they all three envies Edmond Dantes, and to make his life more miserable, they plan a treason. They plan an act against Edmond Dantes. In this treason, they draft a letter and accuse Edmond Dantes of in possession of a letter which was given by Napoleon to him, and which was addressed to some Bonapartist group in Paris. Basically, this is explaining that it's basically against the political view of that particular place. So they accuse Edmond Dantes of that he has some sort of letter which is not good for the political current situation of that particular place. There is some truth in this accusation that yes, he had the letter with him, but he was he didn't know what was the content of that letter. The letter was actually supposed to be carried by the captain of Pharaoh, but in this trip, when at the first time when he returned, the captain of the Pharaoh died due to illness, and he made his second best believing person, which is Edmond Dantes, to deliver this letter to a certain person in Paris. So they accuse Edmond Dantes of this, and due to this he is arrested at the day of his wedding and presented in front of Wilford. Wilford is a kind of judge, you can assume like that. So basically all the facts and all the reasons are presented in front of him, and Wilford realized that there is nothing wrong Edmond Dantes has done. But at the point when Wilford come to know that to whom the address was actually supposed to be delivered, and to whom it is actually addressed, was M. Noetier, and M. Noetier is the father of Wilford. So what actually happened, that the letter was supposed to be delivered to the father of Wilford, and when Wilford learned that his own father is involved in these kind of treasonous activity against the current political system, because he is a very ambitious man, when he come to know that his own father is involved in such kind of activity, this is going to ruin his reputation, and he plans an act against Edmond Dantes. Since Edmond Dantes did not know anything about the content of the letter, Wilford made a plan to shut him up, and to do that he made him promise that he will never mention the content or anything about the letter to anyone, and he will be set free next evening. So what actually was happening is that Wilford ordered the guards and ordered the people to put him in jail, and he was sent to Chateau d'If. The name of the prison was Chateau d'If, and he was kept there for about 12 years until he made his escape. Now, from the point of Edmond Dantes, you may realize that he didn't know what was his crime. He didn't know anything about what was the content of the letter. He was just supposed to deliver it to a particular person. He didn't actually commit any sort of crime, but because Wilford's own father was actually involved in these activities, and he wanted to save his own father, he threw Edmond Dantes, or innocent Edmond Dantes, into the dungeon. Now, Edmond Dantes basically spent almost 12 years in prison, and he didn't know what happened to his father. He didn't know what happened to his beautiful Mercedes, and his whole life became miserable. What happens is that in prison he met another prisoner named Abbe Faria. And Abbe Faria is also imprisoned due to his political views and all. But Abbe Faria, being a much more intellectual man, he teaches Edmond Dantes a lot about philosophy, science, and many new languages, and basically make him a perfect man. They both plan about escaping the prison, and in the meanwhile, Abbe Faria also share the information that he is in possession of a huge treasure to Edmond Dantes. Basically, Abbe Faria used to offer to everyone in that particular prison that if you will set me free, I will give you my treasure. But nobody believed him. Everyone thought of him as a mad person. But Edmond Dantes believed him. So they both planned an escape, but Abbe Faria died due to an illness into the prison. So Edmond Dantes finally escaped from the prison. There is one more video on my channel about this whole escape and prison story. I will link that down below as well. So next, what happens is that after escaping, the first thing Edmond Dantes does is to go and look for the island of Monte Cristo, from where he acquired that particular treasure. And next, he concealed himself as Abbe Busoni. He changed his appearance and went back to Marseille and meet to understand or to know that what happened of his family, of his father, and of his lover and all. He find Caderousse, like one person who was in this treasonous activities. Caderousse didn't actually commit the crime against Edmond Dantes and all, but he actually had a chance to stop him, but he didn't. So he met Caderousse, and Caderousse didn't know that it is Edmond Dantes. He understood that it is Abbe Faria and all, and Edmond Dantes, who is actually Abbe Faria, made up a whole story that Edmond Dantes was my friend and all, and he gave me this huge diamond. Like, he basically present Caderousse with a big diamond and ask him to tell everything that has happened in between these 12 years. He learned that his father died due to hunger, and Mercedes had to marry, and both of his rivals, Wilford and Baron Danglars, they both have become rich, and they reside in Paris, and he learned everything about them. So he gave the diamond to him, and he went back, and after 10 years again, he returned back from come to Paris, and now he has made his fortune grow, and now he calls himself as the Count of Monte Cristo, or the Count of that particular island. And he owns many more businesses, and everything seems to be very good, and he seems to know everything, and a kind of unstoppable, very successful man he became after almost 22 years from the day of his arrest. Now, from here, the journey of Edmond Dantes of punishing the people who were responsible for his fall and for all the miseries that he faced in life, along with helping the people who were responsible, who will try to help him, basically begins. What he does is, first thing, that the owner of the ship, the Pharaoh, like the Morals, he basically their business was in ruin. So first thing that he goes is help them. Second, he goes after the people who were responsible for his miserable life. Basically, what he does is that the very first person who is accused, who is to be punished, is Fernand Mondego. And basically what he does is that he exposes Fernand of betraying his former patron Ali Pasha, and selling his wife and daughter to slaves. And basically after learning the true nature of Fernand, his own wife Mercedes and his son Albert, they basically leave him. At the first, what happened, that when he come into Paris, he plot in a carnival and all. He plot everything, that he will meet his son, the son of Fernand and Mercedes, Albert, and he saves him from bandits, and in favor ask him to introduce to Persian society and all. So it's a very detailed plot, but I have given you the gist and what actually happened in all those around 300 pages of the story. I have given you in 2 lines. Next, what happened is that Villefort gets several punishment, because Villefort loves his money. He is an ambitious man, so he gets his punishments slowly and steadily. Basically, the first wife of Villefort dies, so Villefort's marry again. So the second wife is that. What actually happened is that from the first wife there is a children named Valentine, and M. Noetia, who is the grandfather and all. Basically what he does is that he writes a will. M. Noetia writes a will that all his fortune will be given to his daughter Valentine, and the stepmother of Valentine, Madame de Villefort, was not buying it all. So she goes after killing so many people in his own family, and this is stopped by Edmond Dantes, or the Count of Monte Cristo. And basically what happens is that he leaves Villefort penniless. He takes all of his money. So in the last, what in general happens is that there was 2 people, the daughter of Ali Pasha and his wife. They both were sold to slavery. So the name of the daughter was Heidi, and Edmond Dantes finds the meaning of his life in taking care of the daughter Heidi. And basically in the last, what he does is writes all his fortune on the name of Morale and Valentine, and basically sets off to sea and to make his own life. So that was the full review of the book named The Count of Monte Cristo. I think I have explained it in 10 to 11 minutes. I think that it's more than enough, and hopefully you guys may have understood something about this particular story. If you have liked this particular story, then you can comment down below, or you can share it along with your friends. And if you want to watch more of like videos, then you can subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.